The Pittsburgh Steelers may have just found their spark, and it happened thousands of miles from home. Their 24-21 victory over the Minnesota Vikings in Dublin wasn't just another early season win. It carried the weight of symbolism, passion, and perhaps a turning point for the entire 2024 campaign. The final score suggests a nail-biter, but anyone who watched knows the truth. This was Pittsburgh's most complete performance of the year, a game where the black and gold controlled the tempo from start to finish. And the fact that it happened in Ireland, in front of a crowd bursting with energy and pride, made it all the more unforgettable. At the center of it all was Aaron Rodgers. The veteran quarterback didn't need to be flashy to make a statement. Completing 18 of 22 passes for 200 yards and a touchdown, Rodgers displayed calm, precision, and an efficiency the Steelers have long missed at the position. His presence alone has stabilized the offense, providing the team with a steady hand who refuses to gift momentum to opponents. After years of uncertainty, Rodgers has given the Steelers something they've desperately needed: trust at quarterback. Of course, if Rodgers was the calm conductor, DK Metcalf was the fireworks show. 5 receptions, 126 yards, an unforgettable 80-yard touchdown that turned the Aviva Stadium into a roaring sea of terrible towels. On that crossing route, Metcalf showed exactly why Pittsburgh made such an investment in him. He bulldozed through defenders, outpaced everyone in pursuit, and delivered a statement play that may come to define the season: confidence, explosiveness, and dominance. Metcalf embodies all three, and he's rapidly becoming the face of this Steelers offense. The surprises didn't stop there. When Jaylen Warren was announced inactive, many fans feared the ground game would stall. Instead, Kenneth Gainwell turned in the game of his career. With 19 carries for 95 yards and 2 touchdowns, Gainwell proved Pittsburgh's rushing attack doesn't rest on just one player. He was tough, decisive, and relentless, running behind an offensive line that finally silenced its critics. A unit hammered in the opening weeks for its struggles, the line came alive in Dublin, winning the battle in the trenches and creating lanes. Connor Hayward was especially vital, blocking with grit and making timely catches. Together, this group redefined what Pittsburgh's offense could look like when everything clicks. The defense told its own story. Yes, Carson Wentz threw for over 350 yards, but the numbers don't capture what really happened. Wentz was constantly harassed, pressured, and forced into mistakes. Keanu Benton was a menace inside, racking up a sack and a half along with multiple quarterback hits. On the edge, Nick Herbig overwhelmed Christian Darrisaw, one of the league's top tackles, with relentless speed. Peyton Wilson, who had been under heavy criticism earlier this season, delivered the redemption game of his career. 13 tackles, a relentless motor, and the single most important play of the afternoon: a game-saving tackle at the 1-yard line that stopped Minnesota from tying the score. And then there was Deshaun Elliott, whose return changed everything in the secondary. His interception, pass breakups, and physical presence gave the defense a jolt of confidence and stability. Still, there were concerns. Calvin Austin III exited with a shoulder injury, leaving uncertainty about his status moving forward. The lack of faith in rookie Roman Wilson was also apparent. Despite Austin's absence, Wilson played just 3 snaps while Scotty Miller stepped up into the rotation. This has fueled wide receiver rumors during the bye week, with names like Deontay Johnson, Odell Beckham Jr., Nelson Aguilar, DJ Chark, and Robert Woods circulating as possible reinforcements. Meanwhile, Jalen Ramsey gave fans a scare with hamstring tightness. He was able to return, suggesting the issue isn't severe, but Pittsburgh may choose to rest him to ensure he's ready for the bigger challenges against Cincinnati and Green Bay. Coaching decisions also left room for debate. Mike Tomlin, respected as one of the NFL's most enduring leaders, once again showed flaws in game management. Opting for a field goal instead of sealing the game and calling a questionable timeout before the onside kick nearly gave Minnesota an opening they didn't deserve. Fortunately, the players were good enough to overcome those choices. On the brighter side, offensive coordinator Arthur Smith earned praise. His adjustments, more crossing routes, a greater emphasis on the middle of the field, and creative use of Metcalf, transformed the offense into something dynamic and unpredictable. Rodgers executed perfectly, Gainwell stepped into the spotlight, and the offensive line finally found its rhythm. Looking at the bigger picture, the Steelers have now won 3 of their last 4 games, This is not just momentum, it's growth. The roster is blending veterans with experience, young players eager to prove themselves, and role players stepping up in key moments. After the bye, Pittsburgh faces a daunting stretch against the Browns, Bengals, and Packers in prime time. That stretch will determine whether this surge is real or just a flash. But after the performance in Dublin, there's reason to believe the former. This wasn't just a win, it was a moment. A celebration of the Rooney family's Irish roots. A reminder that Steelers Nation has no borders. A night when history, passion, and future collided. The fans in Dublin sang, waved their towels, and turned a foreign stadium into a second home, and the Steelers rewarded them with a victory worthy of the occasion. So the question remains, who was the true MVP? Rodgers with his calm efficiency, Metcalf with his explosive touchdown, Gainwell with his career-defining performance, or Peyton Wilson with the one-yard stop that sealed it? In truth, the answer may be all of them. Because in Dublin, the Steelers didn't just win, they grew. They showed resilience, versatility, and belief. And for the first time this season, it feels like Pittsburgh is truly building something bigger. The 2024 campaign is just beginning, but this was more than a Week 4 victory. This was a statement, a declaration, and maybe even the spark that ignites a run. Family, passion, and history define this franchise. And in Dublin, all three came alive in a way Steelers Nation will never forget.